I have a son with my ex, and sometimes when we do some family things, I think, oh gosh, would have been nice to be able to have that family feeling, that family environment, but it just wasn't meant to be, and my life is the way it is now, and so I have to accept for the way it is, because I look back now and I think about it and I think, oh, I wish, I wonder if it would, but here it is. It's not like that. And there again, it's my thinking that, oh, it could have been like that, but it wasn't like that. My marriage was not like that. It wasn't what I envisioned it to be. I kept thinking if I thought hard enough, I could change it and make it the way it was, but it wasn't. And so I realize now, looking back on it, that my marriage is the way it was, and I can't change that. And so I'm happy with the way I am today and how I'm moving forward in my life. So it's a cool experience to finally get to the other side. And, I'm still climbing that hill. And how about you? You still doing it too?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. And, one of the things that you spoke about reminded me of something that I want to caution our listeners to. And if this is for you, if it resonates with you, great, consider it. And if it's not, that's great too. But one of the things that I have found is, like you, Cece, I miss the good times, and there's no relationship on the face of this earth that's 100%. It may even be 99, but it's not 100% all bad, all negative, all the time. And so we have this tendency to remember the good times, and the thing that I did was I am very certainty-based, meaning I want my life that I can feel certain about things, and that's sometimes a facade for us. So what I did is I found myself wanting to go back, and if I can't have my dream life, I was at least certain that, there were some good things, and so I'm just going to accept that. And so I'm too scared to move forward and create my own life, so I think I'm going to just try to make this relationship work. And that's why I say for some folks that may be the right thing to do. I'm not making a judgment. I'm just simply giving a shout out to those that may want to go backwards, and perhaps it's not the healthiest thing for them, and they may even know it on the inside, but because of fear, it's the only thing we knew, and so we would rather accept less for us. I did it. I know the feeling, and so please, 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 for those of you that this is resonating with, please consider it seriously before you try to go backwards, if you will. What do you think of? What are your thoughts on that, Cece?
Oh yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, because the thing is we do have to understand where we're at, and so if you're going to stay within the relationship, you have to be real about the way the relationship is. And so if you're going to accept it, that's okay, if that's what you choose to do, but not if that's what you feel you have to do. And so I think that's the big difference. I mean, I know that, marriages long time ago, they stayed within it, they endured, but we don't have to endure. We as women, men, if you're in a bad relationship, you don't have to deal with sadness and be unhappy. You are entitled to be happy and to live a good, full life. And so I often say, when I talk about being single, that we're trying to live our best life, because that's what I want everyone to do. And what your best life is may not be what my best life is. But if that's what you've chosen to do, if you've chosen to stay within the marriage for whatever reason there is, but it cannot be for fear or anything like that, because it won't work. You're just going to revisit all of those feelings once again. All of where you're at now, and you're feeling bad, and you're feeling the fear of moving forward and all of this, if you stay within the relationship because of fear of moving forward, you're still going to revisit that same thing because you're not happy. So your elements are going to stay the same. Nothing's going to change the same for you unless you make a change or you decide this is what I want. Don't you agree?
I do. And we usually make decisions from one or two spectrums, and that is out of love or out of fear. And I was in a huge fear, and I wish I had someone like you or me ask myself that question, which is a great question if we're kind of in the midst of this right now. Am I doing this because I'm afraid, or am I doing this because I truly, genuinely love this person and want to make it work? And I'm seeing signs from my partner, at least some type of, I'll never forget Tony Robbins once said, if you're making a decision based on fear, it's the wrong decision. Agree with that. If it's based out of fear, somehow, even if it's a small portion, it'll come back and bite you in the butt. And you know what? All of us remember, I'm sure. Have you ever been in a relationship where, and you may have been married or maybe just dating, but it broke off, and then you went back to that after a certain time? And, we all romanticize the good times. We tend to remember the good and forget all the bad, and then we go back into it, and all of a sudden, haven't you had that light bulb over the head moment where it's like, oh my gosh, I remember why I'm not with this person again, right?
Right, absolutely, absolutely. One thing I was going to mention too is that change is like, we can't, if you stay into a relationship you're unhappy with, and if you're going to go back into it, people have said, well, they'll change, or they're changing. But the reality is they don't change, you change. So if you're willing to change, then maybe you possibly can make it work. But if you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to do adapt to it, it's not going to work. You're going to be at the same place again, and it's going to be even more painful. But sometimes people have to be shown. They have to see it for themselves, and so they have to experience it a couple times to be able to say, you know what, this, I gave it a shot, and this isn't working. And there it is, right?
You're right. And you know what? So right. And for those of you that have done that before, don't judge yourself, because that will put you in that same downward spiral. Sometimes it takes us 1 or 2 times to go back. Sometimes it takes us 7 or 10 times to figure out, this is really, it feels like I'm trying to push a square peg in a round hole. No matter what I do, it is just not working. And so we all have a different path to go on, and it all takes us different amounts of times and experiences and awarenesses to find out what is really good for us. And nobody can make that decision. We cannot delegate that type of decision to somebody or something else. We have to decide what is balanced, good, and healthy for us. What do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. My mother used to have a great saying, it is what it is. So whenever I would look at things, something was really bothering me, I would just repeat that in my head, it is what it is, and then I would look at what is it, and then I would be able to really understand where I was at. So I can't always change. You can't change somebody else. I can't always change things, but I can change my outlook. I can change the way I want to do things. I can change where I am. I can easily leave or whatever. So sometimes it takes us changing ourselves and changing our environments and changing our perspective that makes a difference, because we can't always change the other person. We don't necessarily want to take their ownership of their behavior. We want to take ownership of our own behavior. And I think that's really important. Well, you know what? It's really super to have you on the show. We talked about a lot of things, and let's just kind of recap real quick. We were talking about trust at the very beginning, about taking ownership of your own. And so this way it empowers you to really be who you are, and so that you can trust yourself. Really steps beginning with joy, understanding yourself and what makes you happy, understanding those quiet times. The steps that we go through, grief and loss, anger and acceptance, of course, is a turning point for us. And really take those baby steps to move forward. And above all, to link yourself with other like-minded, positive, energetic individuals that are going to change your life. Because where you're at is where you're going to stay if you continue to want to stay there. So if you want to move out, move into other horizons, you need to fill your heart, soul, and mind and link with someone that can possibly grasp a hand and say, hey, take mine, we'll move forward. And then the very, very last thing is the future. It can be bright if we so want it to be, right? And that's where we're at. So tell us how we can get a hold of you if anyone wants to you do one-on-ones for coaching, and maybe someone might like to give you a call. So let's share all your contact information.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Cece, so much. It's been such an honor and a pleasure. I've just enjoyed speaking with you so much. And yes, my passion is to be able to help people, women, walk through this. And so I am always happy to offer a complimentary consultation. They can do so in 3 different manners. They can reach out to me directly at my office, which is 719-388-8758, or if they prefer online to sign up for a complimentary consultation on my website, it is www.women's, and that's plural, womenspeakperformancecoaching.com. Or if they're the type that just like to shoot out an email, my email address is Shan, my first name, SHAN, coaches, plural, Shan coaches, at Comcast.net, and I would be happy to be of assistance. I have to tell you, Cece, my greatest.
Well, Shan White, you are an amazing lady, and I thank you so much for being on the show. Man, we have covered, in a very short period, so much impactful, inspiring information. It's absolutely wonderful. And I know that the listeners will take away a lot of great information here.